one of the most anticipated rematches in college football for the 2023 season, the Oregon Ducks and Washington Huskies meet in the Pac-12 championship game. And this has the potential to be another classic. When you look at the 36-33 win that the Huskies produced earlier this season, it was a fun game. It was a back and forth game full of big plays, full of big names, and now you have a playoff berth on the line. There's not much that gets bigger than this, and it's going to be fun to see what each team can do. Oregon is on a mission. Ever since they lost to Washington, they feel that they need to prove something, and they are out to remind everyone why they are a college football playoff contender. The offense is electric, absolutely explosive, averaging over 45 points a game. They are averaging 7.85 yards per play. This is an explosive offense that simply has good balance, and they are really fun to watch. Bo Nix is the leader of that group. Bucky Irving's been really fun. Troy Franklin. You go on and on about this team and what they're capable of doing. And the offense, like I said, is explosive, and it's easy to see why with the amount of talent you have. Irving is one of the best backs in college football. His numbers maybe don't say that, but he is electric. Good luck tackling him in the open field. And I think that Oregon will find more ways to get him involved. He was electric in the first matchup too. I think that they'll find ways to get him the football. Troy Franklin is their go-to receiver out wide, but don't forget about Tez Johnson. He's a speedster who can make life difficult, and I think that maybe Oregon gives him the ball a little bit more to stretch the field and kind of lull Washington to sleep when Franklin is looking for big time matchups. He probably won't see too many one-on-one matchups, but if Tez Johnson can get going, that opens up the field for Franklin. The defense is really fun to watch too. They have been, for the most part, a shutdown defense. There are certain games that hasn't been the case, but this is a team that can shut teams down. And I think they are on a mission to slow down a really good Washington offense. I think Washington has plenty of firepower themselves, and it's going to be interesting to see what Oregon can do to slow them down. I think a guy like Evan Williams plays a big role both as a run stopper and a pass defender, but also I think getting after the quarterback a little bit more will help. And we saw that I think early in the game against Washington, the front seven did a great job of getting to the quarterback, but towards the end, maybe took their foot off the gas a little. They need to continue doing that. And a guy like Jordan Burch will have a big impact in this game if he's able to get to Michael Penix Jr. The secondary, if they can stay healthy, will be just fine. Kyrie Jackson, if he does not go down, I think that is going to be a huge part of this game, and whether or not he's able to stay in the game will be a big determining factor on who wins. Bo Nix, like I said, the leader of this defense or offense. You saw the difference between him at Auburn and him at Oregon. It's been really fun to watch. I think that you look at what he did against Washington last time, there's reason to believe he can do it again. He saw a number of different looks from Washington, and I think that he handled everything quite well. And he's having a big year, a potential Heisman worthy year. We'll see what happens on that front. But when you look at what he's done, he has been the leader that they need. He's the steadying hand that they've needed on offense, and he's just been able to get the ball to his playmakers. Bucky Irving is one of them, both as a runner and as a receiver. Now, you don't really expect much from him as a receiver, but he is an above average threat catching the football out of the backfield. His shiftiness, his play string contact balance is really fun. And I think that a lot of people kind of forget about him, maybe a little bit on the underside. So that's maybe why people don't remember what he's capable of doing. But he is someone who can be electric. Did so in the last game, 127 yards in one touchdown. This offense has a lot to prove still. They're looking to put up more points than they did against Washington the last time, and they're looking to play even better than they did earlier this year. Brandon Dorlus is a name that doesn't get talked about a lot. Jordan Burch is another guy. I think that this front seven can be an absolute wrecking ball for Oregon. Now, if they can do that, that slows down the Washington offense. And this is a Washington offense that at times has looked a little slower than we expected, but you still have to get to the quarterback. You still have to make big plays to slow them down. Washington has been hanging on to that undefeated season for dear life, and lately hasn't been great, but they are still winning. And when you look at the teams that they played over the last month, you played three ranked teams and a rivalry game in Washington State. So you can't really blame them for winning close games. There have been some really entertaining back and forth battles, and Washington is set to prove that they can win two in a row. Beating a team twice in a season is difficult, but they feel that they can do that against Oregon. And I think when you look at what they have coming back, you're getting healthy at the right time, you're getting certain players returning, and you're also seeing a balanced offense kind of develop. One of the biggest things that they saw happen was Dylan Johnson's emergence. And when you look at what he did against USC, that was probably the biggest game for this team as a whole. His breakout game showed that this team can run the football efficiently, they can be physical, and it will help this passing attack. The passing attack with Michael Penix Jr. and a number of wide receivers is really what stands out. But it's the rushing attack that will make the biggest difference because if Washington can run the football, it's going to limit what Oregon can do in terms of getting after the quarterback. If they can do that, I think that they're in good hands to get on track to be to win that game, win this rematch, and prove everyone that they can win two in a row against this Oregon team. The defense really needs to step up. This is a defense that is the X factor, honestly. And it's been the X factor all year. People have questioned whether or not this group can step up, and they get another opportunity to prove that. And from here on out, if they win this game and go to the college football playoff, people are going to wonder, can this defense do enough to get by? Can this defense do enough to help them win? And they will have to do that against Oregon as well. You're looking at a team that is loaded offensively. The defense has to do its part. If the offense can do what it needs to do, then it might not really matter too much what the defense is doing. But I think that this offense is getting healthy at the right time. You get Jalen McMillan back. That's a huge weapon, maybe an underrated weapon because he's been struggling with injuries so much. But when you look at the trio that we've talked about all year, Michael Penix Jr., Roman Odunze, and Jalen Polk, these are guys going to play in the NFL. And maybe a guy like McMillan will be an X factor. Maybe a guy like Giles Jackson, Dylan Johnson. There are a number of options up front and in the skill position players that can make a big impact. And you saw them play at a high level in the last game. It's not that Washington got lucky. They won that game. Obviously, there was a couple decisions by Dan Lanning that determined the outcome, but Washington also played really well. They played well enough to win the game. So we can't take that away from them. You can't just say they didn't deserve to win because they did. Odunze played great, Polk played great, and Penix stepped up when they needed him to. Now, when it comes to picking this game, I think everybody expects Oregon to win this game. I think a lot of people just feel that they've been playing better. And I agree. I think that yes, Washington has found a way to remain undefeated. Washington has found a way to win certain football games, but it hasn't been with a ton of confidence. And right now, Oregon is playing on a mission and with their hair on fire, and they want to be in the college football playoff. And they have an opportunity to get there. And if they're going to do it, they have to go through a really good Washington team. Maybe Washington, the fact that they played close games gives them the confidence to know that they can win another close one. Oregon's been more of kind of that dominant approach. Maybe they're not ready to win a close game, but I think it's really going to be a fun game. I do think that Oregon wins, but I am here for the entertainment. I'm here for a back and forth battle. And if it's anything like the last game, this is going to be one of the best games we'll talk about all year.